Pause for a moment and answer this question honestly. How many years have you been grinding away? You sweat, stay up late, wake up early, and work twice as hard as everyone else. But looking back, why does your life still feel stuck? Why are there people out there who seem to do very little, maybe even without high degrees, yet they're wealthy, free, and relaxed? I'm not talking about luck. I'm talking about something else. Something that 99% of workers are programmed never to see. Don't blame fate. The issue isn't hard work. It's mindset. More precisely, it's the mental model society has programmed into you since childhood. You follow what you were taught, what you saw, what was passed down to you. You walk the path that 99% of people follow, but you expect a result that only 1% achieve. That will not happen. And today, we're not just talking nicely about mindset. We're going to dissect it, like an engineer dissects a machine. Because there's a truth that few people ever say. Successful people don't play by the rules. They make the rules. The other 99% are just running after rules that someone else wrote. That's why today, I've chosen to talk about two books that, in my view, if you truly understand them, will make you see the world through a completely different lens. Reverse Thinking and Open Thinking by Nguyen An Doom. But to be clear, this is not a summary video. I'm not going to retell the content of each chapter. I'm not judging whether the books are good or bad. What I want to do is decode the thinking mechanisms behind these two books, so that you don't just understand, but can immediately apply them to your work, career, and finances. Our video will go through three main sections. Part 1. Reverse Thinking. Doing things differently to break free from the 99% loop. Part 2. Open Thinking. Debugging and reprogramming your brain to see clearly and make the right decisions. Part 3. The truth about the 1% and 99%, and exercises to shift your mindset starting today. If you feel stuck, if you're exhausted from trying without results, if you want to escape the work, fatigue, repeat cycle, this is the video for you. Let's start with the most important part. Reverse thinking. The art of doing things differently to change the game. Part 1. Reverse thinking. 1. The system, the rules, and the illusion of effort. Do things differently to break free from the 99% loop. Let's start with a truth that few are willing to face. Society is not fair, and it's not designed to be fair. From a young age, you were taught a set of rules just like millions of others. Study hard, get a degree, apply for a job, work consistently, save slowly, then hope one day you'll be stable. You might think that's the natural path of life, but in reality, it's a system designed to keep society running smoothly. What's the problem? 99% of people follow the system. The remaining 1% create the system, make the rules, and generate the opportunities. System creators don't live within the framework. They design the framework. And then they hire the other 99% to operate it. That's the starting point of reverse thinking. 2. The invisible cage that traps you. Reverse thinking doesn't start with intelligence. It starts with the ability to recognize the cage you're living in. This cage isn't made of iron. It's made of expectations, programmed beliefs, fear of risk, habits of hard work without questioning. You don't realize you're trapped because everyone around you is trapped too. There's a great image in the book that I want to interpret in my own way. Imagine 99% lining up to cross a rickety wooden bridge simply because everyone believes this is the only way to get across the river. A reverse thinker asks, why must I cross by that bridge? Why not build a boat? That's the moment someone escapes the system and starts creating a new one. 3. How reverse thinkers make decisions. An ordinary person makes decisions by optimizing the options available. Should I work here or there? What salary is acceptable? Which savings method is best? What investment will give a return? By contrast, a reverse thinker doesn't optimize within the frame. They change the frame entirely. They ask different questions. Why are there only 2 options? Why do I have to choose at all? Is there a way to avoid competition? Is there a model that lets me multiply my time? Ordinary people chase money. Reverse thinkers design systems that generate money. Ordinary people worry about saving 10%. Reverse thinkers create 100% new income from a different cash flow. The difference isn't in the ability to work, it's in the courage to ask reverse questions. To make it clearer, here's a simple example. Income. 99% ask, how do I get a raise? How do I save more? Reverse thinkers ask, how can I not depend on a salary? How can I build an asset that generates cash flow while I'm still working? Time. 99% think it takes years to get good. Reverse thinkers ask, is there a system that lets me learn 5 times faster? Has someone done this better than me? Can I buy their experience? Competition. 99% push into crowded spaces. Reverse thinkers go where it's empty, where no one is looking. See the point? Sometimes the difference isn't about luck. It's about asking different questions. If you want to start thinking differently, start with these 4 foundational questions. Who made this rule? Am I following it because it makes sense, or just because I'm used to it? If I do the opposite, what's the worst that could happen? The best? Am I following the crowd because they're right, or because they're many? Is there a way to achieve double the results with half the effort? Write these 4 questions down. Put them on your desk. Use them before making any decision. You'll be surprised how many new paths open up that you never thought of before. Reverse thinking will let you see life from a different perspective. But changing perspective alone isn't enough. Many people recognize the system, notice the cage, and realize they're trapped. But they still can't break free because they carry old beliefs and old ways of thinking. That's when you need open thinking, a tool to debug your brain so you can see clearly, understand correctly, and decide wisely. Now let's move to part 2, the part that helps you reprogram yourself. Part 2. Open thinking. Debug. See broadly. Create brain. Version 2.01. Why 99% make wrong decisions. Most people believe they are in control of their lives, making their own choices. But the reality is harsher. Humans don't make decisions based on logic. They make decisions based on emotions, plus memories, plus habits. In other words, if it feels comfortable, you consider it right. If it feels strange, you consider it dangerous. If you're used to a way of doing things, you assume it's the only way. This is why 99% of people repeat the same old version of themselves for 5 to 10 years. Work doesn't change. Income doesn't change. The way they react to problems doesn't change. And all of this comes down to 2 things: closed thinking and the comfort zone. Closed thinking is when you don't ask questions. You do things because everyone does it. You believe something because that's how it's always been. You cling to old ideas even though life has changed 10 times over. The comfort zone makes you think risk equals death. But in reality, the biggest risk is standing still. 2. The thinking debug mechanism. 3-step model. This is the most important part. If you understand this section, you're already 60% of the way to upgrading yourself. Step 1. Identify assumptions. Every decision you make is based on an invisible set of assumptions. For example, this career is too hard. I probably can't do it. I need a large capital to start a business. Investing is too risky. I'll just save for safety. People say it's true, so it must be. These assumptions are often not facts. They are stories you tell yourself without ever stopping to check. Identify assumptions by naming your old beliefs. Once you name them, you take control. Step 2. Seek contrary evidence. This is the game changer. The brains of 99% of people always look for evidence to protect their beliefs. Open thinkers do the opposite. They look for evidence that might prove them wrong. For example, if you think the market is dangerous right now, find data that shows opportunities are opening up. If you think, I can't get a raise in my field, find proof of people who did. If you think, no one in my family succeeds, find proof of people starting from zero. Seeking contrary evidence doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you clear-sighted. Your brain opens up to more scenarios, and your risk is cut in half. Step 3. Reprogram. After seeing both sides, ask, is my original belief still valid? If not, erase it. If yes, keep it, but upgrade it with new data. This is the moment you upgrade your brain from version 1.0 to 2.0. You are no longer led by emotions. You no longer react according to old habits. You make decisions based on real evidence. This is a skill most successful people have. They debug themselves faster than anyone else. 3. Failure is just data. Ordinary people see failure as a wound to their pride. Successful people see failure as an error message. No emotions, no panic, no I'm bad. They only ask 3 questions. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? Next time, which direction should I try? Look closely and you'll see. Successful people fail more, make more mistakes, but they learn several times faster. Meanwhile, 99% of people fail once, and they label their entire life. I guess that's just my luck. I guess I'm not cut out for this. I guess this isn't meant for me. Successful people fail 20 times, but all 20 failures are just 20 log entries to analyze, not 20 reasons to quit. 4. How to apply open thinking in work and investment. In your career, open thinking helps you recognize where you stand and which directions open up new opportunities. You dare to change jobs, learn new skills, or even switch industries. You don't cling to a position that has run out of potential just because I'm used to it. Your career begins to expand when your mind opens. In business, open thinking makes you experiment more and faster. Each small experiment reveals new insights. You no longer spend months thinking and still make mistakes. You test for 3 days and know. The approach of successful people. Test fast, fail small, learn deep, scale what works. In investing, open thinking helps you avoid decisions based on gut feeling, hearsay, or just because others are doing it. You start looking at data, assessing risk, and analyzing trends. When you're right, you know when to increase your position. When you're wrong, you know when to stop, without stubbornness. Open thinking makes you the calmest investor in the room. Open thinking is not about trusting everyone. It's not about chasing everything new. Open thinking means opening yourself to the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable, forces you to change, or makes you realize you've been wrong for a long time. And that moment That confrontation with reality is the first step toward becoming a better version of yourself. Part 3. The truth about the 1% and the 99%. Let's start with a simple but harsh question. Why is it that only 1% of people are wealthy, 99% are not? Free and exceptionally successful, while the remaining 99% work hard, save, study diligently, yet remain stuck in the same place. The answer isn't luck. It lies in how they think, how they perceive reality, and how they process information. The 1% don't just work hard. They work smarter, but more importantly, they think differently. They don't repeat old formulas, they aren't trapped in frameworks, and they aren't afraid to fail. They apply reverse thinking to break free from predetermined systems and open thinking to debug, learn from every failure, and adjust their behavior immediately. Ordinary people see obstacles. Successful people see opportunities within obstacles. They understand that all rules, all systems, are created by humans. And if they want to change outcomes, they just need to create their own rules. While 99% are busy chasing society's predefined path, study, get a job, save gradually, play it safe. The 1% create companies, investments, profit streams, and hire others to run them. They control both inputs and outputs, while 99% are merely moving within a system they cannot control. To do this, they rely on two extremely important skills. Reverse thinking, knowing how to flip problems, avoid the crowd, and find unique paths. Open thinking, knowing how to debug themselves, not fear failure, and make decisions based on data and truth. For the 99%, failure is the end. Failure is a reason to doubt themselves, blame circumstances, or quit. They let emotions rule, let old habits lead, and live in their comfort zone. This creates a loop. Work harder, get little result, feel disappointed, work even harder, same results. This loop can last years, even a lifetime, which is why they remain stuck despite working hard. In contrast, the 1% see failure as data, not a verdict. Every mistake is an error message to analyze, learn from, and try again. That's why they progress faster, even though they fail more often. Here are practical lessons you can apply immediately to shift from the 99% mindset to the 1% mindset. Lesson 1. Identify the system and the rules. Pause and observe. What system are you trapped in? Are you following rules set by others or creating your own rules? Write down the rules you're following and ask, which ones can I change to my advantage? Lesson 2. Reverse thinking. Ask different questions. Don't ask the same questions everyone else does. How do I get a raise? How do I compete to succeed? These are pre-programmed questions for the 99%. Reverse thinking asks something completely different. How can I create new opportunities and resources so I don't have to follow the old rules? This question doesn't give immediate answers, but it opens a new way of thinking. It lets you see paths others overlook and exploit gaps most people ignore. By asking questions this way, you are no longer bound by habits or social rules. You start creating your own rules, which is how successful people break free from the old loop. Lesson 3. Open thinking. Debug yourself. Spotting opportunities isn't enough. You must learn to debug yourself. When making wrong decisions, most of us are ruled by emotions, disappointment, worry, or blame. Open thinking teaches that failure is data, not punishment. You learn to list assumptions, seek contrary evidence, and reprogram beliefs. Each failure becomes an honest report to read, analyze, and learn from. Applied to work, investing, or personal decisions, open thinking helps you make choices based on truth and data, not emotions or old habits. This is how you upgrade yourself from the old version to to version 2.0, sharper and more effective. Lesson 4. Continuous experimentation. No one succeeds by waiting for perfection. Those who apply reverse and open thinking constantly experiment. Try, fail, learn, adjust, try again. Each experiment is an opportunity to understand better, refine strategy, and improve results. This continuous experimentation creates the gap between the 1% and the 99%. Ordinary people fear failure, stand still, and miss opportunities. Successful people learn faster, adapt quicker, and advance further because they never stop learning from their own experience. Lesson 5. Live with truth, not feelings. Open thinking isn't about trusting everyone. It's about opening your mind to truth, even when it's uncomfortable, contradicts old beliefs, or breaks familiar habits. Winners don't run from reality. They face data, see facts clearly, and act on truth. By confronting reality, you make better decisions and avoid being swayed by fleeting emotions or social biases. Truth becomes your compass, guiding you efficiently and intelligently. Lesson 6. Combine reverse and open thinking. Finally, imagine the power when you combine both. Reverse thinking to spot opportunities that most people miss. Open thinking to debug, learn, and continuously upgrade yourself. When you do this, you break free from the old loop, spot opportunities within obstacles, learn from failure, and move faster toward your goals. This is the difference between the 1% and the 99%. They don't just act differently, they think differently, learn differently, and perceive reality differently. Every decision, experiment, and mistake becomes valuable data to upgrade yourself and move closer to your best version. By combining both mindsets, you are no longer just following the rules. You start creating your own rules. And that is the essence of freedom, success, and control over your life. The difference between the 1% and the 99% isn't luck. It's mindset. They flip problems when needed. They debug themselves when they fail. They learn faster. They see truth more clearly. And they act based on data, not feelings. If you apply these lessons, you will no longer be stuck in the old loop. You will see opportunities where others see obstacles, learn from failures, and upgrade yourself to version 2.0. Life waits for no one, and the only thing you need to do is start changing your mindset today.